Hello students, welcome back to our channel Diksha Karnataka. So if you are gearing for KCET 2025 examination and want to know which are the books in chemistry that you must follow to get into that top list in the KCET 2025 examination, then you are at the right place. In today's video, we'll be discussing the most important resources to crack this exam. So not only the list, but also we'll be discussing how to use these resources, when to use, what is the correct order of using them, and we'll cover everything in detail so that your preparation for KCET 2025 is smoother, easier, as well as very effective. Okay, so yes, let's get started now. First of all, let us understand what are the benefits of using selected study material. Why can't we use whatever is available in the market, right? So there's a very famous proverb, I think many of you have heard it many times, that it is far better to study one book 10 times than studying 10 books one time, right? So yes, that is said because there are some reasons which we'll be going to discuss now. So first is focused learning. Okay, so when you have very limited resources, you can focus better, okay, because you know only one book is there which I have to study. So let us give full attention to this. Okay, if you have 4 to 5 a lot of study materials, you will be distracted. Second, effective time management. Okay, so when the same thing can be done within less time from one resource, why to waste time in using different resources and wasting time over there, right? So to make your time more effective, because you have a lot of things to study, lot of syllabus to cover, so it is very important that you channelize your preparation with limited resources. Third, consistency. So when you have one or a very limited resources, you will be more consistent because you know that this chapter is done, we'll go to the next chapter. You need not search different books for different chapters, so consistency will also be very good here. Now coming to fourth, that is effective revision. This is very clear. When you have a limited resources, you know, for chemistry, for physical chemistry, I have to revise this particular book or this particular notes. Then yes, you can easily do that without any distraction again. Next is minimize distractions. So when you have limited resources, distractions are obviously very less. Sixth, enhance retention. Okay, so when you have when you are looking at a particular resource for many times, retention will be more. But when the same thing you are studying from different books, from different pages, your image or visualization will not be very good, retention will be less. And the last point, that is confidence building. So for example, you have something, any chapter, and you have revised it, you have studied it from 7 sources. Okay, so now you will be confused, you will be not very confident that whether you have revised all the 7 things or not. But the same thing, if you consolidate in one particular book or one particular notes and you are revising that again and again, so you'll be very confident about your exam, about your preparation, right? So yes, these were some 7 important things why benefits of why it is very beneficial to have limited study material which are good. Okay, it's not like you should take one study material which is not effective. Okay, so you should consider some limited study material, but they should be very effective. Okay, so now let us start with our book list for KCET 2025 examination chemistry. Okay, first is your NCERT. Okay, so you have to use NCERT of class 11th and 12th. Second, you have to do chapter wise PYQs. You can use any publication. I don't want to recommend any particular, but yes, there are many publications available in the market which give you chapter wise PYQs. Third is coaching module. Okay, so this is again is not mandatory. KCET you can easily crack with self study, so there is no mandatory that you have to join coaching centers and all, but yes, if you have anything, then you can use their coaching modules. Coming to the fourth one, previous year papers for last 5 years. Okay, this is also available for free. Okay, so previous year papers for last 5 years is the next resource that you have to do after doing the first 3. Fifth one is test series. Okay, so you have to join any one test series before 2 to 3 months of the exam once your preparation is done. So this is there to measure your preparation. Okay, like whatever you have studied for the last 1 year, is it really enough to crack this exam or not? So that is why you need the test series. And sixth one, very important, short notes, handmade preferably. Okay, you must have your own short notes for revision. Okay, how much ever you study, everything comes to zero if you cannot revise and retain it. Okay, for revision and retention, the most important thing that we need is short notes, which we generally overlook. Okay, but please remember, if you study 70% of the syllabus, okay, you cannot retain everything. Okay, so to retain everything, to revise everything, to be very confident in the exam, the only thing that has to be done is proper revision, which can be done through short notes. Okay, so this is the key component out of all this. Okay, so let's now start here. So these are your NCERT class 11 part 1 and part 2 books, and NCERT class 12 part 1 and part 2 books. Okay, I hope if you do not have these books, please get these books. It is very, very important for your KCET preparation. Now coming to NCERT chemistry. Okay, so how you are going to study NCERT chemistry for KCET examination. So here I have divided this strategy into 3 parts, into organic, inorganic and physical chemistry. So first coming to inorganic chemistry. Okay, so if you see here, what you have to do when you start, suppose you have taken a chapter D and F block. Okay, for example, this chapter you have picked from inorganic chemistry. So what are you going to do in inorganic chemistry for this chapter? First is read the NCERT thoroughly once. Okay, so just go through the NCERT and read it one time. I know it is little difficult, but yes, one time effort you have to make and read from the first line to the last line of the whole chapter. Okay, second, reread it and underline the reasoning statements and trends. So in inorganic chemistry generally, okay, we have reasoning statements and so many trends are there, what happens along the period, down the group, and why this is happening. So you have to mark all. For example, reasoning statements in this chapter, we have many reasoning statements like why transition metals are acting as catalysts, right? Why are they having interstitial properties? And these all are your reasoning questions or reasoning statements. So underline them, and trends, okay, along the size, like along the period, how the size changes, down the group, how the atomic enthalpy of atomization changes. There are so many concepts, the trends. So underline all these trends. Next, highlight the important exceptions. So you have to underline the trends. Then if you find any exception, like for example, I will take an example in the D block element, size. Generally we know along the period size will decrease, but if you have studied D block, the size decreases, then remains constant, and this increases, right? This is an exception, or you can find this is something which is not in common, right? So that is why you can highlight the important exceptions. Next, coming to, after doing these 3, so for first step is read the complete NCERT. Second, you have to underline the reasoning statements and trends. Third, you have to highlight the exceptions. Next, do in-text and exercise questions. Okay, so just go through the in-text questions and the exercise questions of all the chapters present in inorganic chemistry. Now, mark the questions you are unable to solve, or you are not very confident, or you are having doubt. Mark those questions. Okay. Next, so when I am saying you do in-text and exercise questions, there are so many theoretical questions, you know, but exercise questions which can be asked in the form of MCQs, like for example, whether the compounds are colored or not, whether which is having highest magnetic moment, which is a better oxidizing agent, reducing agent, such type of questions which has important reasons, you must try from the exercise questions. Now, if you are not able to solve, mark those questions and then try to find the answer for that or revise the concept again. Now, what you should prepare from here, prepare a list of trends and exceptions. Okay, so revisit the chapter, see what are the underlined statements, what are the highlighted statements, and note down at one place. Okay, making short notes is very, very important. Do not skip it. So yes, you have to make a list. So after doing this much, prepare a list. So like for example, D and F block, point 1. So note down all the exceptions that is present in the chapter. Okay, so this should not be more than 1 A4 size paper. Okay, both side you can use. No, not more than that. The content should not be more than that for D and F block chapter. Okay, so this is how you should do for inorganic chemistry. Now let us go to physical chemistry. Okay, physical chemistry is very simple. Read the NCERT thoroughly once. So at least once you read from the first page to the last, from the first word to the last word. but yes, there you need not underline anything, need not highlight anything in physical chemistry. What you have to do is you have to note down the important formulas. Okay, like for example in chemical kinetics, okay, so note down the first order formula, second order formula, third then zeroth order formula, and then you can take half-life formula, okay, Arrhenius equation. So just note down all these formulas. Next, do in-text and exercise questions. So here also solve the in-text and exercise questions, the numericals, this is very important. So just solve these questions and mark the questions which you are unable to solve, the same thing, okay, so that you can understand which concept you are lagging out, okay. So here this thing should be done in a separate A4 size paper, list down all the formulas, A4 size paper or any paper you take, but in one paper you should be able to summarize all the formulas. That is the key thing which I am going to tell. Next is the organic chemistry, okay, organic chemistry very important, and as we have discussed also in the PU2, okay, 12th standard, out of 10 chapters 5 chapters are organic, right, so very high weightage. So how you have to study it properly? So first you have to read the NCERT from the first word to the last word of the chapter, reread it and underline the important reagents, okay. So you can see different reagents will be there in the chapter. For example, you can see PCC is there, PDC is there, NaBH4, okay. So underline the important reagents present in the chapter. Next, do in-text and exercise questions. Here you may not do all the exercise questions, okay, that I have written. For example, any nomenclature is there, okay, nomenclature question, order, acidity, basicity, order questions, right. So those type of questions you please solve it. Next, and mark the questions which you are unable to solve, so that you can know which concept you are lagging and you can revise those concepts or you can work on those concepts. Next, this is very important. There are so many reactions if you consider all the organic chapters, right. How are you going to remember all these reactions? So there is very simple and one of the most effective ways preparation of flow charts, okay. Prepare flow charts for everything, okay. Like for example, I'll show you. For example, alcohols are there, okay. So for preparation of alcohols, prepare a flow chart. For chemical properties of alcohols, prepare a flow chart, and both these flow charts should come in the same page, right. So all the reactions of alcohol can be concised in a single page. That is very, very important. Most of you do not do it, and later when you go towards the exam, you mixed up all the reactions, right. So that is why prepare proper flow chart. I'll show you the example of flow chart also. Now next is also very important. Make a separate note for name reactions and reagents, okay. So have from the chapter, once you complete it, note down all the name reactions and all the reagents that you have come across in a separate notebook and write down their definitions, okay. Yes, so this is how you have to practice organic chemistry. Now I'll show you an example of flow chart. So for example, preparation of alcohols. So I have combined all the methods and I have written it in one part. So this much will be one part for preparation of alcohols. You can see how to prepare from alkenes, how to prepare from aldehydes, from acids, again from ketones, and then again from alkenes. What are the different reagents used? I have written everything in this concise diagram, okay. So this is how you can prepare the flow charts for alcohols, phenols, ethers, aldehydes, ketones, carboxylic acids, all the functional groups, all the topics that is present in the organic chemistry. So this is how first thing NCERT is done. So I hope it's very clear what the important things for physical, inorganic and organic chemistry you have to do. For physical, you have to prepare formula sheet. For organic chemistry, you have to do flow charts and a name reaction and reagents notebook. For inorganic, you have to note down the trends, the exceptions and the reasons, some reasoning questions, okay. Now we'll go to the second resource, that is chapter wise PYQs, okay. So solve last 5 years of chapter wise PYQs, how you have to do it, okay. First of all, anyway you'll get a book, okay, where the chapter wise PYQs are there. After that, what you have to do, suppose you have set for the chapter chemical kinetics, okay, you have started doing the PYQs of chemical kinetics. So how you should proceed? So first, once you start solving, however questions are there, you solve it, okay, directly you start solving it without using calculator. Now once you solve it, go to the answer key, check the answer key and reward yourself whatever score you are getting. So for each correct question you have to award one mark, okay, and for wrong question there is no negative marking. Now when you are doing this, suppose you have came across question number 1, okay, so this question has come from which topic in chemical kinetics, that you have to consider. Like for example, the first question is on the rate law, okay, the second question is from Arrhenius equation. Okay, you cannot do this for organic chemistry basically because it is a mixed concept, but for inorganic and physical you can definitely do the topic wise analysis. Okay, so note down the topics of these questions, then analyze the important topics. So if you see from Arrhenius equation, 6 questions out of like you are solving last 5 years paper, so total maybe suppose 30 questions are there. Suppose out of these 30 questions you see Arrhenius questions are 10, right? So definitely you can conclude that this is an important concept, right, which you should not miss out. So like that you have to analyze the important topics. Now encircle the wrong questions and identify the reason for it. So when you are solving these 30 questions of chemical kinetics and you are getting some questions wrong, identify why these questions are wrong. Okay, what is the mistake in that, like whether the concept is wrong, calculation is wrong, what type of mistake you have done. Okay, then so you have to solve these papers, that is without referring to study material. So do not see the books, the formulas in between, do it honestly under like you are writing an exam, just try to do it in that way. Next, give a remark about the level of the preparation based on the score. So for example, if you are scoring something around 90% above, okay, 90% above you are scoring, then you can say okay, this chapter is almost done for your KCET 2025 examination. If you are scoring somewhere between 50 to 70%, okay, so okay, this is not completely done, but yet average, some more effort has to be given. But if it is below 50% like that, then yes, you can consider this chapter is not yet prepared for KCET 2025 examination and you have to give a lot of time for this chapter yet. Okay, so then you have to reward yourself what is the correct level of this chapter for your preparation. Now coming to the next one, coaching modules. So here there's coaching is, as I already told you, it is not mandatory, but if you have any, if you have already joined any coaching, you will be having their DPP's daily practice problems. So just take that questions, that problems and start solving them. So you can have like practice of some more questions. Okay, but again this is not mandatory. Okay, next coming to fourth one, that is solving previous year papers. Okay, this is very important. Previous year papers will give you one idea like what is the level of the exam. It will give you idea about the level of exam, what type of questions are asked, right? That is why it is very important whether you are able to solve the questions in time or not. So this has to be done once you are completed with the syllabus and start attempting the previous year papers and try to attempt last 5 years of paper, because before that pattern was something different. From last 5 years pattern is something different. So start from 2020 to 2024, try solving the papers, and you must do this under exam conditions. Means you have to sit for 1 hour, sorry, you have to sit for 80 minutes, you have to use OMR sheet, okay, and do not get distracted, you cannot go in between out and come back. Okay, so under exam conditions you have to write these papers. So this will definitely help you to boost your confidence, and the scores also you should understand why it is happening. And after this you have to do proper analysis. Okay, next coming to the fifth point, that is test series. Okay, so test series, you can join any test series before 2 months of the exam, okay, just for the practice, so that you can have you can increase your confidence, you can know like where you are doing the mistakes and all. So attempt this also, you have to attempt under exam conditions. Again I told you what are the exam conditions: 80 minutes, OMR sheet and no calculator. Then analyze your mistakes. Okay, so just see what is your, I'll also make a video how to analyze the mistake, that is a very important thing. So you have to analyze your mistake, that where you are going wrong and how can you improve that. Next, keep a record of the score. Suppose you have written 10 tests, okay, so just have a record. In test 1 what was your score, test 2 what was your score, so just mention all the scores so that you know that you are increasing, you are improving, or you are again like your performance is decreasing. Okay, so that's to have a record of that. keep the record of all the scores in all the tests. Okay, now coming to the last and very important thing that I told you, short notes. Okay, I prefer handwritten notes more. Like you can easily get the coaching notes or something, the summaries are already available, but if you are having, since you are having time from now, I prefer and I suggest you that you make handwritten notes, because when you are making it in your own handwriting, retention is always better. Okay, so this is my personal suggestion. You might think that there's a waste of time. I'll not disagree to that, but again, this is my suggestion to make handwritten notes. Second, mention only important concepts. Okay, so when you are making short notes, don't try again to make like writing the whole book again. Okay, so just try to make and mention all the important concepts here. Third, try to use more symbols, diagrams or flowcharts, avoid more text. Okay, so just your short note should be in words, in symbols, or like for example, somewhere you can write about gives free energy, just mention delta G, right? You need not write the word there. This is just an example. So different color schemes also you can use, so that it looks, the visualization is good, then your retention will be better. Okay, so once again, if we conclude all the points, first is your NCERT. Here we have already discussed how you should approach NCERT for physical, organic and inorganic chemistry. Okay, second is your chapter wise PYQs. So this will tell you what is your level of preparation of that particular chapter. Then third is any coaching modules, DPPs if you have, if not, that is also fine. Fourth, you have to do previous year paper from the last 5 years. Okay, PYP, previous year papers. And then fifth is your, what is there in the fifth? We have after previous year papers, fifth is your mock test or test series, and sixth one is your short notes. Okay, yes, so these are the important resources that you must follow to crack this exam effectively with a great score. Okay, so that's all. Please follow these instructions. It will definitely help you to crack your exam, and it will guide you throughout your preparation strategy. You will not get distracted towards so many resources. So these are the fixed resources. Arrange them as quickly as possible and then get started for your KCET 2025 preparation. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any doubt or you need more clarification, you can comment down. I'll definitely address it. And thank you for watching, and please share it with your friends, all those who are preparing for KCET 2025 examination. Like and subscribe the channel. Thank you.